There's a very specific kind of dread that comes with getting exactly what you asked for. We usually frame it as a joke, right? The old "be careful what you wish for" trope.
You wish for $1 million and it's an insurance payout because you lost a leg or something.
Exactly. But looking at the stack of accounts we have today, it's not funny. It's genuinely disturbing.
It is. We're looking at a collection of firsthand accounts that, well, they function almost like case studies in boundary transgression.
Yeah.
Usually on a deep dive, we're trying to optimize your life or understand a complex topic. Today, the mission is different. We are looking at the psychological cost of forbidden knowledge.
And when you say forbidden, we aren't talking about like government secrets.
No.
We're talking about things that biologically or spiritually human beings were simply not designed to process. We're talking about the horror of peeking behind the curtain and realizing there's no backstage crew, just something watching you back.
Precisely. Whether it's the geology of a cavern beneath Britain that shouldn't exist, the neurology of swapping consciousness, or the cosmic implications of a signal from deep space. The common thread in every single account we're covering today is that curiosity isn't always a virtue. Sometimes it's a trap. And once you spring that trap, there is no resetting it.
Let's start with the one that genuinely kept me up last night. I was reading through this log, and I had to turn more lights on in my apartment. It's the Library of Sins.
Ah, yes.
This comes from a recovered log of an expedition team in the UK. We're talking geologists, a few military escorts. They were drilling, looking for mineral deposits, and they hit a void about 1,000 meters down.
Right. And just to set the scene for you, 1,000 meters down, the pressure and heat should be intense.
It will be unbearable.
But when they breached this cavern, the air wasn't hot. It was cool. It was dry. Stagnant.
That was the first red flag.
The physics were just wrong. It was an environment that felt, as they put it, intuitively correct for a tomb, not a geological formation.
So they descend into this void, rappelling down into the dark, and they find a door.
And not just a door.
No. We're talking about a slab of copper, 2 stories tall, and the description here is visceral. It says the copper was carved with writhing human figures, but the unsettling part wasn't the writhing. It was that every single figure was looking over their shoulder.
They were looking at something out of frame. That's such a key detail. It triggered a primal ancestral fear in the team.
That reptilian brain thing, yeah.
It's that response when you see a herd of animals fleeing, staring back at something you can't see, you don't ask why, you run with them.
But this team, they didn't run.
They used explosives.
Because they're human. We see a locked door, we have to know what's behind it, so they blow it open. And inside, it's not a cave system, it's a library.
A library of impossible scale. The ceilings just disappear into darkness. It's covered in this thick gray dust that hasn't moved in centuries.
And the shelves are packed with millions, maybe billions of books, just rows and rows of silent knowledge.
So the team starts pulling books off the shelves. They find every language imaginable. German, Cyrillic.
Phoenician even, but it's the content that matters. One of the scientists, a guy named Grant, starts translating, these aren't stories, they're ledgers.
And this is where the horror really sets in. These books record every sin committed by every person who has ever lived.
An archive of human failure.
But Grant finds his book. He sees his name on the spine.
Can you imagine that temptation? He opens it, he reads his past, petty thefts, jealous thoughts, the lies he told his wife.
Standard guilt.
Right, but then he flips to the end of the book, and that's the moment the expedition falls apart. He realizes the book doesn't stop at today.
It keeps going.
It lists sins he hasn't committed yet.
And think about the psychological impact of that. It confirms a deterministic universe. If your future sins are already written down, you have no free will.
You are just an actor reading a script you didn't write.
You're a puppet.
Grant couldn't handle it. The log says he read the very last entry, his final sin, and then he just did it. He walked to a ledge overlooking the abyss and jumped into the darkness.
He fulfilled the prophecy, simply to escape the anticipation of it.
He committed the sin of suicide because the book said he would.
It's the ultimate removal of agency. But for the survivors, the horror shifted from existential to physical very, very quickly. They tried to retreat.
They followed their guideline wire back to the entrance.
But the wire had been moved.
Moved? By who?
By the architecture itself. The library is hostile. It shifts. The wire led them away from the exit and into a section the log calls the corridor of heads.
I really wish you were speaking metaphorically right now. I really do.
Unfortunately, no. The shelves in this section weren't holding books. They were lined with severed, desiccated human heads.
Oh my God.
Rows of them. And as the survivors moved past, the heads started blinking. Their dry lips started moving.
What were they saying?
They were whispering, sounding out letters. S-I-N-S.
And this is where the source material takes just a weird turn. One of the soldiers screams at the heads. He asks, "Is this hell? Is this our punishment?"
And the heads stop whispering.
Yeah.
And start laughing.
Laughing.
That laugh is significant. If they were punishing the intruders, there would be anger or solemnity. Laughter implies entertainment.
So it's not a moral lesson?
No, it's just a spectacle. It's a circus act for the damned.
They realize they're being herded. The log describes a wall behind them. It looks like brick, but it's pulsating. It's warm. It's raw meat underneath.
And it starts moving forward.
Like a trash compactor.
This is the mechanism of the trap. It crushes one of the soldiers, Davis. Just flattens him against the stone. The survivors barely scramble onto a mezzanine level, gasping for air, covered in dust and blood.
And that's where they meet him.
The entity in charge. The architect.
An old man at a desk in the middle of this nightmare, just sitting there doing paperwork.
And his explanation. It's so mundane, it's terrifying. He basically apologizes for the mess.
He does.
Yes. He explains that this place is a defunct section of the afterlife. The original design was for sinners to hike down here, find their book, and repent. But the bureaucracy failed.
Wow.
There were too many people, too many books, 86 quadrillion of them. So management just abandoned the project. They left the lights on and walked away.
So it's a failed administrative project.
Yeah.
That is somehow worse than it being a dungeon.
It's cosmic negligence.
So what about the survivor?
He wakes up in a hospital on the surface. The cavern is gone. The entrance is sealed. But pinned to his chest is a note, a literal return to center slip. It apologizes for damage in transit.
And the damage. Tell him about the damage.
The survivor is blind. His eyes were surgically removed. The note mocks him, saying that since he saw things he wasn't cleared for, his clearance has been revoked.
Permanent darkness. It's a heavy start, I know. But it sets the stage perfectly for this theme of unwanted access. The team physically broke into a place they shouldn't have. But our next account deals with breaking into a mind.
This is the case of step minding. It shifts from physical horror to psychological entrapment. And honestly, this one scares me more because it relies on trust.
Right. So we have a couple, Oscar and Lynn. They go to a therapist, Dr. Bogan, who specializes in radical empathy.
She uses this technique called step minding.
And the mechanics are surprisingly simple, which is part of the danger.
Two people sit knee to knee. They sync their breathing, and they use a rhythmic finger snapping technique.
Snap, snap, snap.
At a certain frequency, consciousness swaps.
Right.
You literally inhabit the other person's body.
The goal is perspective, right? To see the relationship through your partner's eyes, to feel their back pain, their stress.
Theoretically, yes. But Oscar, he gets hooked on the feeling. He describes it as ego death without the drugs.
So he starts doing it professionally.
He does. He works for Dr. Bogan as a neutral vessel for her wealthy clients to inhabit for therapy.
He turns himself into a rental car. He lets strangers drive his body while he sits in theirs.
Harsh, but accurate. And like any rental, eventually someone doesn't want to return it.
Enter Harold.
A wealthy, older client, terminal illness, body feeling him. He pays a premium to swap with Oscar for a session.
So Oscar is sitting there in Harold's old, dying body. He feels the arthritis, the weakness. Harold is in Oscar's young, healthy body, stretching his arms.
Feeling the vitality. Standard procedure. But then Harold's assistant steps in.
This is the betrayal.
The assistant pulls a gun, but she doesn't point it at Oscar and Harold's body. She points it at Oscar's original body, the one Harold is currently driving.
Wait, so she's threatening to shoot her boss?
No, she's executing the vessel. They shoot Oscar's original body in the head. Bang! Oscar, the mind is safe inside the old man, but his body, the place he's supposed to return to,
it's gone.
It's dead on the floor.
So Oscar is stuck. He's trapped in Harold's old body. He can't swap back because his home is destroyed.
It's worse than that. There's a rule in step minding. 3, snap, 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 snap is the hard reset. It forces consciousness back to its origin.
It's a reflex.
A biological reflex you can't stop.
But his origin is a corpse.
Exactly. If Oscar, now living as Harold, ever hears 3 consecutive snaps, his consciousness will try to return to a dead brain.
He'll die instantly.
That is a specific kind of hell. He's rich, though, right? He inherits Harold's life.
He has millions of dollars. He lives in a mansion. But think about his daily life. He can't listen to jazz music, Too much rhythmic clicking. He can't go to a poetry slam.
He can't be in a crowded restaurant where a waiter might snap at a busboy.
He's living in a minefield of sound, a prison of silence. He got exactly what he wanted. He escaped his mundane life. He achieved the ultimate empathy. And now he is isolated by a sound that could happen anywhere at any time.
It's a masterclass in paranoia.
Every time he hears a dry twig break twice, he freezes, praying there isn't a third crack.
Paranoia seems to be the fuel for a lot of these. Let's look at the tech angle. We have a shorter account here about an app called Mirror Me.
This one hits close to home for anyone addicted to data. The promise of the app was predictive analytics. You upload your data, and it generates a real-time avatar of your future self. And initially, it's a motivational tool. The kid, let's call him Sam, sees a fit, successful version of himself in the app.
So he hits the gym, he studies, he's chasing the avatar.
He's trying to become the person on the screen.
But then the feedback loop inverts. He notices a bruise on the avatar's arm, a deep purple welt. A few hours later, he bangs his arm on a doorframe. Same bruise, same spot.
He realizes the app isn't a simulation.
It's a locked timeline.
And that's when the obsession starts. He stops living his life and starts trying to dodge the app's predictions.
Which is impossible. He sees a cut on the hand, he wears gloves. But the gloves make him clumsy, he drops a glass, tries to catch it.
Just shuts his hand.
The app is never wrong.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy engine.
Precisely. And the tragedy is the end state. He checks the app one last time. His future avatar looks emaciated, eyes hollow, surrounded by trash and blackout curtains.
And Sam is so terrified of this future that he locks himself in his room to stay safe.
Creating the exact future he saw, he's hiding from a ghost that he is actively becoming. He deletes the app eventually, but the damage is done. It's a lesson in the observer effect. By obsessively watching his future, he corrupted his present. Sometimes blindness is a survival mechanism.
Speaking of blindness as survival, we have to talk about the ISS, the International Space Station. This log comes from a comms officer who requested total anonymity.
This touches on the dark forest theory. For those who don't know, it's the idea that the universe is a dark forest full of silent hunters. If you shout or light a fire, you get eaten.
So the officer is monitoring a new array of radio telescopes. He's looking at pulsars, deep field radiation, but he starts hearing a rhythm in the static.
It wasn't random noise, it was a signal. And as soon as he acknowledges it, as soon as he listens, the station starts to glitch.
Power surges.
Airlocks, cycling on their own. It's like the station itself was having a seizure.
And he starts seeing things. Outside the portholes, massive ancient structures moving in the dark, not ships, just shapes.
Blocking out the stars, and eyes watching the station.
What was the message?
He decodes it. And this is the part that chills me. It didn't say, hello. It didn't say, we come in peace. It said, we were here before you. You don't belong.
That is not a greeting. That is an eviction notice.
The officer realizes the telescopes are acting like a beacon. They are the fire in the dark forest. The entities are drawn to the observation.
They know they're being watched.
So he has to blind the station. He physically disconnects the array. He tears the cables out. He chooses ignorance to save the crew.
And it reinforces that idea of hard borders. We assume all knowledge is good. We assume if there's a signal, we should answer it.
This account suggests that we are like mice squeaking in a room full of sleeping cats. The smartest thing the mouse can do is be quiet.
We were here before you. I'm not going to look at the stars the same way tonight, but let's bring it back down to earth for our final segment. We've talked about cosmic horror and body horror. Now I want to talk about the horror of the shortcut.
The shortcut is a classic human desire. We want the result without the process. We want the destination without the journey.
We have two stories here. First, the Uber driver. He picks up a guy who wants a 4-hour ride to a seaside town, pays a massive tip.
The passenger's story is tragic. He says he visits the town to mourn his wife who was murdered there.
The driver feels for him. He takes the gig, he does it again the next year, and the next, the money is good. The driver buys a new car, upgrades his wardrobe.
He's profiting off this guy's grief.
But then on the third trip, the passenger tips 100%. And he says something weird. He says, it went exactly like before.
And that's the turn.
The driver gets home and sees the news. A new woman is missing. She looks just like the wife. Same town, same method.
The passenger wasn't mourning.
He was reenacting.
And here is the moral test. The driver puts it together. He knows. But he looks at his new car. He looks at his bank account.
And he doesn't call the police.
He keeps the secret. He sold his conscience. This is the horror of complicity. He wanted the easy money, the financial shortcut, and the cost was that he is now an accessory to a serial killer.
He has to live with that silence. And finally, we have the pocket watch. This is a literal shortcut. A guy is stuck in gridlock traffic, about to miss a career-defining meeting.
He holds this old heirloom watch given to him by his wife and wishes he could just get there.
And the universe answers.
But the universe is a monkey's paw. His GPS reroutes him. It sends him to an exit that doesn't exist on any map.
He takes it. He drives into an alleyway that gets narrower and narrower. The buildings change. They become gray, silent, abandoned.
He's not in the city anymore. He's in a place that looks like a city but smells like ozone and dust.
He entered a liminal space, a space between moments.
But he's not alone. The log describes a shuffling entity, a humanoid with arms that drag on the pavement, moving toward him with a jerky, unnatural gait.
This is the guardian of the shortcut. You want to skip time? You have to deal with the things that live outside of time.
The watch stops telling time and starts acting like a compass. The hands spin, pointing him out. He has to abandon his car and run.
He sprints through this gray city, lungs burning, with that shuffling thing right behind him, getting closer, its fingers scraping the pavement.
He crashes through a barrier and wakes up in his office parking lot. Safe.
And he's exactly on time. He got his wish.
But look at the cost. He can never find that exit again. And he remembers his father-in-law, who gave him the watch. The old man had a bad leg, a permanent limp.
You think the father-in-law used the watch?
And didn't run fast enough. Exactly. The shortcut always takes a toll, whether it's the Uber driver selling his soul for a tip or this guy risking his life to make a meeting.
So if we pull back and look at this entire board, the library, the body swap, the space station, the watch, what is the lesson here? Because it feels like the universe is rigged against us.
I don't think it's rigged. I think it's just strictly managed. We live in an age of information. We think we have the right to know everything, to go everywhere, to be everyone.
We think every door is meant to be opened.
Correct. But these accounts suggest that the unknown isn't a frontier waiting to be conquered. It's a load-bearing wall. If you knock it down, the roof collapses.
Grant found the book of his future, and it broke him. Oscar found true empathy, and it trapped him. The comms officer found life in the universe, and it almost killed him.
The insight for the listener is this: respect the mystery. There's a safety in not knowing. There's a comfort in the slow, boring route. Optimization is great, but maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't try to optimize your own humanity.
I'm going to be thinking about that book of sins for a long time. It brings up that question. If you could know, truly know, the worst thing you will ever do, would you want to read it?
Knowing that I couldn't change it? No. I'd leave that book on the shelf. Ignorance is bliss, but it's also free will.
I'd like to say I would too, but I don't know if I have that kind of self-control. And honestly, that scares me more than the heads on the shelves.
And that is exactly how they get you.
Well, on that cheerful note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Drive safe. Don't take any exits that aren't on the map. And please do not snap your fingers today.
Stay safe out there.